Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Goblin Show. I'm Josiah Robinson Leary. I'm here with Jason Glick, and I'm here with Charlie Payne, and we are live from Green Lane today. Now, you guys, today I want to talk. I want to talk NFC South. I want to hear your thoughts on the NFC South. What do you think the talent's looking like there? And finally, who do you think is going to win each division? I'll start with you, Charlie.
I think it's pretty easy for the South. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. Just acquired Derek Carr from the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this is probably like the best proven quarterback they've had since Drew Brees. They've gone through the QB cycle. They finally get Carr. I know they got Kamara on the 3-game suspension, but hopefully he'll come back and be Alvin Kamara. Michael Thomas, we'll see what happens with him. He's been a proven receiver in this league before, but we'll see if he can do it again. He hasn't been himself in a while. The defense is still fantastic. They got Cam Davis. They got Marshawn Lattimore. And with all that competition in the South, I have to go with the Saints.
Now, I think defense is going to be something to watch in this division throughout all the teams. And I want to hear your prediction next, Jason. What are you thinking?
I think the Atlanta Falcons are easily the team to beat in the NFC South right now. I think they made some incredible acquisitions this offseason that some of them are honestly going under the radar that people aren't talking about. On the offensive side of the ball, of course, Bijan Robinson with the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft. People are saying it wasn't a great pick, but all I know for sure is that he's going to have an immediate impact right away, and the Falcons are absolutely going to love him. And on the defensive side of the ball, they had some great pickups on the defensive line, like David Onyemata and Calais Campbell, and add that with someone like Grady Jarrett. I think the Falcons have a really good defensive line core, and also probably the best move they made all offseason is getting Jesse Bates in that secondary. It's a very strong secondary with A.J. Terrell and adding him to that core. I think that's something that puts them over the top that not all the NFC South teams have. And in addition to that, the schedule that they have is significantly easier than several other teams in the NFC. And I think that all the other teams in the NFC South just are not able to compete in those divisional games against the Atlanta Falcons.
And he talked the front seven with the Saints, and you talked the secondary with the Falcons. So defense is definitely going to be a key in winning this division. And we have a question from the crowd. You in the green shirt.
Hi guys, love the show. I was just wondering, obviously I believe that the Buccaneers are not even questioned for a top team in this division for this season. How long do you think it is going to take for the Buccaneers to recover from losing Brady?
Jason, why don't you answer this one?
I think it's going to really depend on where their draft placement is. I think if they're severely bad this year, like a 4-13 type of team, they might be able to get a Caleb Williams or someone of that. So someone on that level, like a Quinn Ewers or someone like that in this year's upcoming draft. But I really do think it depends on how they do this year because let's not act like they did not keep some of their older pieces that are going to help them win games, like a Mike Evans, Levante David, Chris Godwin, and a very talented offensive line of a lot of older players that are trying to win and not rebuild. But I do think that they're in a place where they can win more games than they should. And if that's the case, I think it could be 3 or so years until they find a franchise quarterback that can take them to an NFC South title. It just really depends on where this year takes them and if they decide to release kind of their older players.
Now, he mentions the older players merging with the potential Caleb Williams. I don't know how the timelines are going to merge. A QB trying to come to his own and receivers that are trying to win. I don't know how that work out. I'll send it to you, Charlie.
I don't know how it's going to work. You got a bunch of other bad teams like the Cardinals, too, also trying to do the same exact thing. So it just depends on whether they can actually get that done.
And we have a question from the crowd. I'll go you in the white shirt.
All right, so the NFC South last year was the worst division in football. So quickly, do we think it's going to be the worst division of football again this year? Do we think that it's going to be, if you barely get over 500, just like last year, like the Bucs did, you can win the division? So do you think they're just going to be beat up by everybody else, or do you think there is a team that actually could be a good football team, even comparative to teams outside of their division?
I'll let you take this one first, Charlie.
You're definitely just gonna have to be about 500 because if you look at if you compare the Saints, my division winner, to all the other teams in the NFC, it's not very good because the NFC is still a good conference, but compared to the Vikings, the Lions, and all of them, I don't think that the Saints would be able to win those caliber types of games. But yeah, I think you would just have to finish over 500 to win this division.
What are your thoughts, Jason?
I think the NFC South is actually going to be really strong and stronger than people say. I think there's a chance that two teams for me, I think it would be the Falcons and the Saints that finished above 500, maybe at 9-8 or if they're lucky 10-7. Just because of how easy the rest of their schedules are, they don't play too many hard divisions. In entirety, I think a division like the AFC South has potential to have 3 teams finish below 5 wins at this point, with the Jaguars only being the top team. And then in the NFC South, of course, I think that there's the possibility that 2 of the teams finish above 500. And we're also not talking about the Panthers, who I think made some great improvements this offseason, especially on offense, getting several good receivers with Adam Thielen and DJ Chark, and of course, selected the first overall pick, Bryce Young, who, in my opinion, could start well right away if everything goes right. So I think there are a lot more stronger teams in the NFC South than people say. I think the schedule is something that people look at because look at those 2 divisions that they played this year. They are not good divisions, and I think that the NFC South are better than those divisions. You could probably sweep them.
Honestly, I think it'd be surprising to see any team in the NFC South go over 10 wins. But that'll wrap up the show for today. Thank you for joining the Goblin Show. I'm your host, Josiah Robinson Leary. I'm here with Jason Glick, Charlie Payne, and signing off from Green Lane.